We also have QA
QA
CS
and CS
พัทยา
Pattaya branch. I know the Pattaya branch there reply.
Raise
They
your
are
hand
coming
up,
down.
Pattaya branch.
Yeah.
Pattaya
Pattaya branch. Ah, okay. Thank you for coming. How many hour drive from Pattaya? 2 hours?
2 minutes.
Around 2 hours. Okay. 2 minutes. Wow, you must be flying. Okay, maybe can we have this slide dim down?
Alright.
Switch off this one. It will be much more easy to see. Okay. Okay. Good. Good morning and sawadika. My name is Sabrina from the U.S.Meat Export Federation. This morning I have my colleague with me, Justin. We are Singaporean, so Butai my Thai, no Thai. But some part of the presentation, we have it translated in Thai. So it's easy for you to understand. So this morning, I encourage you to turn your mobile phone to silent first so that at least no need to worry so much on work now, because for this first 3 hours, to really concentrate on this information, because this is important knowledge for you so that when you go out and sell the beef, you have a better understanding and much more easy for you to talk to the customer. Okay? So let's begin and let me tell you the things that we do. Okay? So first, U.S.Meat Export Federation, what my company do. Basically, we put the U.S. meat on the world's table. We are a non-profit organization. Okay, we help to promote, educate, and marketing. Our company in charge of beef, pork, and lamb. Okay, and also veal. You know, veal, which is the baby cow. So, but we have office all over the world, and our office is based in Singapore. Okay, we're in charge of Southeast Asia, ASEAN, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Brunei, you know, all these places. So when you happen to travel in this country for food show, if you see the U.S.Meat booth, we will be there. And if one day you go overseas and work and you need U.S.Meat information, you can contact any of the officers down here. They are always very happy to help you. We can do training like this for you also. Okay?
ต้องแปลไหมคะต้องแปล
Need to translate.
ต้องแปลไหมเอาแปลอ่ะก็คือ introduction ก่อนนะคะว่า U.S.Meat Foundation คืออะไร เขาเป็นองค์กรที่ตั้งขึ้นมาเพื่อสนับสนุน แล้วก็แนะนำ U.S.Meat ให้รู้จักทั่วโลก ไม่เป็นองค์กรที่ไม่ได้เกี่ยวกับบริษัทใดบริษัทหนึ่งเป็นองค์กรของ U.S. ที่ตั้งขึ้นมาซัพพอร์ตเรื่องการเทรนนิ่ง
The activities that we are active are on these 3 areas. Number 1 will be the food service, retail, and trade. What we do for food service, we do a lot of menu promotion with hotel, restaurants, steakhouses. We also do culinary training to help you develop recipe. And we also do product knowledge for food and beverage people. Let me show you some. This is a training center in Singapore. Last time, Siamfood also have customer come together with the Siamfood staff, go to Singapore and attend the training like this. Actually, this is a sponsored training by the government of America, 2 full days, and we talk about beef and pork for that 2 days. We do sampling, tasting, seminar, education like this, so that this customer of yours, Siamfood, will nominate your best 12 customer to come to Singapore, and then during the 2 days, it will be a good time for you to secure your relationship with the customer. And during that time, we give training information. And also, we have hotel restaurant to do promotion like this one. This is in Siam City Hotel. This is a while ago. We do the US beef burger promotion. So these are the things when you tell your customer when you want to do promotion on US, this is the information that we can help you on. And also for retail, supermarket, we do a lot of supermarket promotion. In Thailand, we do more with Foodland, and sometimes we do with Tops, Central Tops supermarket. And then if you have, if one of these days when Macro want to do a US beef promotion, can always come to us. Later today, we will talk on some promotion activities. What are the information that you can use from my office? Okay? This is the thing, like that promotion. If you want to build out a counter like this, you know, for U.S. meat, these are the material we can help you. You can ask from us the logo, and then you can make something unique and special. And then when you need to do promoter, so we can also help out by giving material like the apron, toothpick, and things like that to make the activity more active, more attractive. Okay? So this is how we can come in and help you. Sometimes hotel, restaurant need poster like this. We have them. So we can give it to you and you can give it to your customer. For trade, what are trade? Trade are Siamfood services. You are the one, the importer. For importer, what we do, we help to connect importer and exporter together so that you know who to buy from America. Okay, sometimes when Siamfood has the customer request, oh, I want this special beef, you have it? So Siamfood can come to me, oh, Sabrina, do you know in America, what are the exporter that do the product? Then I say, oh, you can try this company, you try this company. So we help you to match make with the product out from America. And then most important, training, like today. Because training is very important for you so that you go up, you know how to tell to the customer about U.S. beef. Because U.S. beef is mak. Why? Tariff duty 50%, 50%. So how you can fight against the other importer on your product. So today's session is the basic information on meat knowledge and how you can able to compete so that the customer will buy from you. Okay? So these are the training sessions we do in the various countries. We do for supermarket, we do for importer. And then first, I want to show you a video about America industry because to bring everybody to America is too far away. Okay, so with this video, you can see our production with beef, pork, veal, and lamb at the same time. Then after the video, we will explain. Okay? Question? No question. Very easy, yeah? Always very easy. If you have question, if you find that you don't want to talk, can't tell too much in English, no problem, you can speak Thai. And then we have your staff to help us to translate. This is the best time that you can ask me questions so that anything you're not sure about U.S.Meat, we can help you to answer.
products have been a traditional mealtime favorite throughout the United States. Americans recognize meat as an essential part of a nutritionally balanced diet, as well as an important source of protein, B vitamins, iron, and minerals. The U.S. produces more high-quality meat than any other country in the world. It has developed one of the world's most efficient systems for meat production, processing, and distribution. Almost all of the United States are involved in the cattle-producing industry, but the 7 major cattle-producing states are located in the western and southwestern United States. General classifications of beef cattle operations in the U.S. Breeders, cow-calf operators, and stockers. After 15 to 16 months grazing and feeding, U.S. beef cattle arrive at feedlots, special open-air masting areas. Here, a feeding program related to age and weight of the cattle will last 100 to 120 days. 70 to 75% of all U.S. cattle are fed in the Midwest, West, and Southwest. The warm, dry climates in these states coupled with their accessibility to feed grain sources and major processing and distribution centers, make them ideal feeding locations. When cattle arrive at a feedlot, they're inspected by a veterinarian to assure that the animals are healthy and free from disease and parasites. In a feedlot, the cattle are usually started on a high roughage feed such as hay and some grains. The ration of corn is gradually increased. The grains are fortified with protein supplements such as soybean, beef pulp, molasses, and citrus pulp. The concentration of grain in the feed increases as the cattle near their desired slaughter weight of about 500 kilograms. The high-grade ration improves the marbling of the finished beef, as well as the meat's taste and tenderness. The U.S.Meat Quality Assurance Program, created in 1987 by the National Cattlemen's Association and supported by 6 powerful government agencies, guarantees a high-quality final product. A veterinarian is in the packing house at all times and works with trained assistants. They visually inspect all animals before and after slaughter and throughout all phases of meat processing. By law, all meat produced and processed in the U.S. for human consumption must be inspected to ensure that it is produced under the highest sanitary conditions and that it is safe, wholesome, and properly labeled. Whereas meat inspection is mandatory, federal meat grading is a voluntary service provided by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Yield grades range from 5 to 1, with 1 being the best. They are based on carcass weight and fat thickness. Quality grades are based on the color, texture, marbling, and firmness of the meat. The 2 top quality grades, Prime and Choice, as well as most of the Select grade, qualify for export under the High Quality Beef Definition and Agreements, as described and confirmed on the USDA's Certificate of Authenticity. Production of veal is concentrated on privately operated veal farms. Major veal producing states include Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, Washington, and the northeastern states. The young animals are weaned from their mothers on ample grazing grasslands. Especially for veal production, the feeding of veal calves is finished in a feedlot with a special milk feeding formula. The sale weight of milk-fed veal is around 115 kilograms. Veterinary inspection is mandatory for veal packing, as it is for all U.S. red meat. The USDA official seal guarantees the safety and wholesomeness of every piece of veal that leaves the packing plant. Voluntary federal grading activities are common in all U.S. packing houses. Veal is subject to a strictly defined quality classification system. Quality grades are Prime, Choice, and Select. Almost 80% of U.S. milk-fed veal is of the Choice quality. The meat from U.S. veal calves is creamy pink in color and exceedingly tender. U.S. veal contains very little fat, less than a quarter of which is saturated. High quality and product wholesomeness are important considerations for the more than 1.5 million hog farmers in the U.S. 75% of all pork production is concentrated in an area known as the Corn Belt. The U.S. classifies 3 types of hog farm operations: the seed stock producer, the feeder pig producer, and the farrow to finish producer. While farrow to finish farmers raise and feed hogs on homegrown grain, most hog farmers send their animals to commercial finishers who will feed the pigs on a concentrated corn ratio until they reach their optimum finished weight of 100 to 110 kilograms. Hog farmers sell their finished animals to packing houses directly or through regional buying stations. designed for U.S. pork producers to assure the safety and wholesomeness of U.S. pork. As for all U.S. meat products, pork is subject to strict control and inspection by a veterinary team of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The hog is basically divided into 4 lean cuts: ham, loin, picnic shoulder, and Boston butt. Convenient and typical cuts result from a characteristic cutting technique performed under strict hygienic conditions. Pork grading is based on 2 general considerations. First, the quality, which includes characteristics of the lean and fat. 2 general levels are recognized: acceptable and unacceptable. Second, the expected yield of the 4 lean cuts. U.S. number 1 requires a yield of 60.4% and over, compared with U.S. number 4 at less than 54.4%. An average serving of pork provides about half the adult recommended daily allowance of protein, but only accounts for 10% of the calories required for the average woman. More than 158,000 metric tons of lamb a year. Sheep and lamb production is concentrated in the western United States, where grazing land is ample. Improved flock management and mixed grain and grass feeding, similar to cattle feedlot techniques, allow U.S. lamb producers to supply the largest, meatiest lamb in the world with extremely high meat-to-bone and lean-to-fat ratios. Here again, we see the well-known activities of strict control and inspection by USDA teams. That guarantees the safety and wholesomeness of all U.S. meat products. As with beef, the prime, choice, and select quality grades are further qualified by a total of 5 yield grades. Delicate flavor and juicy tenderness of U.S. lamb make it a favorite on every table. To help you find the right product with the right specifications, there are 2 technical handbooks used by all members of the U.S. meat industry and their overseas customers. In the Meat Buyer's Guide, all major red meat subprimals are shown by picture with a detailed description of specifications and listed by reference numbers. The book also contains a section on portion control meats. The guide is available in English, French, and German. The Variety Meat Buyer's Guide depicts and describes, also by reference number, all the key variety meat or offal items. The United States has an excellent reputation as a long-term, experienced producer and exporter of consistent high-quality variety meats or offals that are readily available in large quantities. They are all subject to USDA's stringent health inspection. These products are a desired gourmet item in the high-quality restaurant and retail sectors and important raw materials for the meat processing sector. The U.S. has developed one of the world's most efficient systems for the production, processing, and distribution of red meat and offals. The U.S. has studied and refined its meat processing techniques to assure the most efficient production of high-quality and wholesome end products. All U.S. meat is subject to some of the world's strictest health and hygiene controls by certified USDA veterinary inspectors at every stage of the rearing, processing, and distribution chain. Facts and figures prove that the quality, nutrition, safety, and wholesomeness of U.S. red meat are fully guaranteed. Ultimately, the USDA's seal of inspection has earned its rightful place internationally as the trusted symbol of a job well done. It's the result of the organized requires cooperation of everyone involved in the production, processing, and distribution chain. U.S. packing houses can generally slaughter, process, and ship finished meat in less than 72 hours. In U.S. packing houses, meat products are prepared with a sense of responsibility to guarantee the highest possible safety and quality, whether the product is for export or domestic consumption. U.S. inspected and passed by Department of Agriculture is the strongest guarantee a meat buyer can get. When customers worldwide seek high-quality American meat, the U.S.Meat Export Federation is the reliable source of information and assistance. The U.S.Meat Export Federation has offices located worldwide. U.S.MEF provides you with contacts of experienced U.S. high-quality meat suppliers, either in the U.S. or in your country. It organizes and supports popular U.S. meat promotions in the hotel, restaurant, catering, and retail sectors, and supplies you with useful promotion materials. It conducts seminars and participates in international food exhibitions. If you would like to know more about the American meat tradition and the benefits of U.S. meat, contact the U.S. Meat Export Federation.
Okay, that was a quick video to show you about our industry, and you can see from the video it is very controlled. A lot of things are being controlled. Some part of the video may go a little bit too fast, but what I will do is I will do some explanation so that you understand actually what are the officers doing down there. But first, everybody loves this with Thai words, huh? Okay, first let's talk about source of supply of beef in Thailand. Where you get your beef from. Okay, you have a lot of beef from Australia, New Zealand, alright? You have some of the beef from Argentina, from Brazil, from Uruguay, but now not so popular now because very little export from there. You also have beef from Canada in the early days. You also have beef from US. And what about from Japan? You have beef from Japan also. Sometimes the special hand carry type of arrangement. Okay, and we also have local beef. In local, you go to the supermarket, you see either TF or PF. What is TF? TF is Thai French beef. PF is basically pan fat, that means it's a feedlot system. In Thailand, because of the humid climate, hot, warm, tropical, so the animal down here is actually no good for steak. So that's why the other country are much more better to produce steak type of beef. So this is where you get your beef from the different countries. But basically there are just two types of beef. One is the grass-fed beef, the other one is the grain-fed beef. Sometimes some of the brand they call it pasture-fed. You know, grass and pasture is the same thing. Pasture much more nicer, better words, okay? Pasture-fed beef or grain-fed beef. What is the difference? What is grass-fed beef? Grass-fed beef are mainly animal raised and fattened on grass pasture. Country that has a lot of grassland like Australia, New Zealand, South America, and some of the Asia have a lot of grassland, so they have a lot of grass-fed beef. What is the advantage of grass-fed beef? It is very lean. Why very lean? Because it's a vegetarian diet. You know, so you will never grow fat. Vegetarian. But and the fat cover is very thin. Why? Because there's no fat. And you notice if it's grass-fed beef, you will go to the market, the traditional market, the beef they hang and sell, the fat is yellow in color. Why? Because in grass, even though it's green in color, but they have the carrot teeth, you know, just like carrot. If I drink a lot of carrot juice, eat a lot of papaya, my skin become very yellow because I'm fat. But because the animal, the meat color is dark red, white hemoglobin, red blood cell. So the yellow color cannot see. The yellow color have to penetrate to where? To the fat. So grass-fed beef are yellow. Grass-fed beef, fat color always yellow in color. If you look at the Thai French beef in Villa, in Foodland, you notice that the fat is white in color because it has been fattened with the grain. Okay? So, what is the advantage? It's very lean, little fat cover. The disadvantage is there is no marbling. Marbling and very inconsistent in quality. What is marbling? look into your folder, we have Thai and English also. Marbling are basically fat in between the meat muscle. Okay? Marbling comes from the term marbled floor. You know the floor, the natural marble? So that is the term of marbling. So the fat in between the meat muscle are called marbling. Grass-fed beef, you will not see marbling. Grass-fed beef, you will see beef like that. Very red in color. And very inconsistent in quality. Why? Because for grass-fed beef, you need to have rain. ฝนตก not น้ำตก ฝนตก you need to have rain so that you have grass. When you have grass, the animal can eat and grow well. If there's no rain, no grass, no food, so animal will hungry. So that's why very important for grass-fed beef, weather is very important. If you have experience selling grass-fed beef, either Australian, New Zealand or Brazilian beef, sometimes the chef, hey, your beef last week you delivered not very good, but this week is okay. Very inconsistent. Why? Because difficult to control. Alright? So basically that will be on the grass-fed beef. Very easy to understand. And grain-fed beef. What is grain? Grain, we have corn, pearl barley. We have wheat, durum wheat, sorghum. All these are the different grain. Grain is an energy diet. So that's why in the Western country they give children cornflakes. Why? Got energy. Go to school, alert, can pay attention. So for grain-fed beef, the animal are raised and fattened on grain. Country that are doing this, U.S. and also Australia and also some Canada beef also. For Australian beef, you have grain-fed 120 days, grain-fed 180 days, grain-fed 300 days. The more day, the more expensive. Why? Because you have to grow the grain, harvest the grain, process the grain and feed to the animal. So that is money. So grain-fed beef is much more expensive compared to grass-fed beef. What is the advantage for grain-fed beef? You will have marbling. Why? Because from the grain it produces the energy and it comes out with the fat and marbling. And it's very consistent in quality. This is because just like in the video just now, food is mixed in the truck and sent to the animal. When food is sent to the animal easily has 2 meals, breakfast and lunch, or breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 meals. And then the animal can grow well. Okay, so that is on the grain-fed beef. Okay, now I have to tell you about the U.S. grain-fed system. In America, when animal is around 13 to 16 months old, okay, very young, during that time the weight is very light, only 300 over kilo. What they do is we bring them to a place called feedlot. In this feedlot, they do nothing but just eat and little movement and drink a lot of water. Relax, basically. Okay? And then down here, we have to feed them easily, 120 days. How long? 4 months. Minimum 4 months and then or more. They are fed on nutrition, high energy diet, mainly corn. Why corn? Because way back around 30 over years ago, the scientists and the farmer, they research. They find that in order for the animal to produce good meat, corn is a very important diet for the animal. So they have to give them corn. When the animal eat a lot of corn, what is the result? You will have a well-marbled, tender, juicy, and flavorful beef. So how this comes in? Okay, just like when you sell U.S. beef, it's very good marbling. And when this steak, when we grill or pan fry, what happens to the fat? Fat come in contact with heat, it becomes oil, right? Oil is what? Liquid. When you have liquid in your mouth, it's juicy. So the more marbled the beef, the more juicy it is. That's why they say Japanese beef is so juicy, so good, because of a lot of marbling. Number 2, tender. Why tender? Because after the fat melted, okay, it's loosened up. When it's loosened up, it has a lot of holes in between. So make it easy to pull apart. So that's why the more marbled beef, the more easy to pull apart. So that's why make it very tender. And the third one, flavorful. What is flavor? Smell and taste, okay? Flavorful beef. The fat has a very important component because of the corn being fed to the animal. Just like when you have fried rice. When you have fried rice with butter, you fried rice with corn oil, you fried rice with pork fat, Pork fat is very nice, right? Some like pork fat, some like butter. So the fat gives the flavor to the fried rice. So that is the reason in US we corn fat our animal. Then you say, what about Australia? When they do grain fat, do they put a lot of corn? In Australia, they are more efficient with wheat rather than corn. Why? Maybe because of the land. In US, our soil, when you grow, very good for corn. Just like in Thailand, your soil is very good for rice. In US, not all the places can grow rice. Only certain places in California can grow some rice. The rest, not really. In US, in the Midwest area, we are very good for corn. So all the cornfields surrounded, and then there will be some feedlot around. So that is much more easier. Okay? So in US, corn-fed beef, you have a very good marbled, good consistent, well-marbled beef to give you tender, juicy, and flavorful beef. So that is how you can highlight to your customer. Okay, now I give you another video. Today you're going to see these two videos. This video is more on the technical part to understand the name of the different type of fat, so that it gives you more professional. When you talk to your chef, you know what is the language to talk to him. Then your chef know that you really have the knowledge when you sell the product.
Any question?
Yep, very good. Natida, any question? Can ask. Yes. If you don't have question now, no problem. Later when you have a question, then you can ask, then I will try my best to explain to you.
I have one question. What is the major breeding of cow?
Breeding. I will talk
Breeding.
on breeding. I will talk on breed later. So today I'm going to give you the A to Z of US beef with breed, with cuts, with aging specification. Everything you will know. Okay?
This two-part video is filled with information you'll need to know about one of the most prominent center-of-the-plate items, beef. Responsible for $30 to $40 billion of food service sales annually, beef is already an established, dependable food product that's enjoyed almost universally by consumers. At the same time, beef lends itself beautifully to the current dining trends that stress familiarity and comfort, quality, value, nutrition, and convenience. Beef's excellent reputation, along with its ideal adaptability to today's trends, can be of use to you if you put into action the information we're about to provide. Take one includes background information about the product itself and where it comes from, how it's processed, inspected and graded, product labeling, storage, handling, and cooking. The second take will be a more in-depth look at the specific cuts of beef, from the rib, loin, chuck, and round primals, and how they can be menued into popular entrees. Recently, the beef industry provided the same information to the purveyors and distributors who provide you with the beef products you serve. Let's find out what they learned from a beef expert to help them better serve your needs.
The carcass is composed of muscle, fat, bone, and connective tissue. And most people think of meat as the muscle, but really meat is the edible part of the carcass. Everything but bone and uneaten fat. Is meat mostly protein? Oddly enough, lean meat is mostly water, about 72% water. It is a good protein source, having about 20% protein, and usually only 3 to 7% fat. That's why it's good for you.
So that's the connective tissue.
Yes, some connective tissues are thick and strong. Let me show you an example. Okay. These tendons and ligaments hold bones to bones and muscles to bones. Now here's another example. These connective tissues are thin. They help give muscles their shape and form. Now this connective tissue here is tough now, but when cooked with moist heat, it usually breaks down.
Oh, so that's why you use tougher cuts of beef for stew.
Exactly.
Now the fat in meat, how do you know which part to trim off?
Well, you see, there are three places for fat. This is the external fat. This fat helps keep the beef from shrinking when it's being chilled, and it helps the cuts hold their shape.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This fat here between the muscles is called seam fat. And you don't want to have too much seam fat on the beef that you sell. Now, this fat here is called intramuscular fat, but most people call it.
That's called marbling, right?
Right. And the marbling can help make the beef juicy, flavorful, and tender. When you see a fair amount of marbling, it generally means you're looking at a higher quality grade of beef. Now, the best way to handle fat is to take the fat off the outside of the cut, but not the marbling out of the muscle. The beef industry's goal for the amount of fat in cuts of beef is called the window of acceptability. The minimum amount of marbling that you want is about 3%, because you have to have some fat to make the beef taste good. But the maximum you want is about 7%, so that it will be within the American Heart Association's guidelines for the amount of calories per fat.
You know, as long as we're discussing the basics, can you tell me why there's sometimes a variance in color?
Sure. Take a look at this. This meat has been vacuum packed, so it hasn't been exposed to oxygen. That's why it has this deep purplish red color. But after it's been exposed to air for 15 minutes or so, it will become bright red like this. Of course, beef that's been in a refrigerator for a few days looks like this. The myoglobin in the meat has been exposed to oxygen for a few days and has changed the color to brown. Okay, that was lesson number one. What else would you like to know?
You know, I've always been a little confused about meat inspection and meat grading.
Now, meat inspection and meat grading have nothing to do with one another.
Oh, I thought they were the same.
Absolutely not. You see, inspection is required by federal law to make sure meat is wholesome and properly labeled.
So what's the difference between that and grading?
U.S. grading is a voluntary program conducted by the federal government on carcasses to give them a description to help buyers and sellers determine the value of the meat. When you're grading, you're concerned with things like age, muscle, the amount of fat, and marbling.
So inspection has to do with safety and wholesomeness, but grading is about quality.
Quality and yield. There are two kinds of grading. Quality grading is a way of predicting how good the beef will be to eat. Yield grading tells you about how much saleable product you'll get after it's trimmed.
Well, tell me more about quality grading.
Well, there are two main factors that affect the eating quality of meat: the age of the animal and the amount of marbling.
Well, I knew marbling affected the quality.
And you were right. More marbling means that the beef is more juicy and more flavorful. Did you know there are 10 degrees of marbling?
10.
Abundant means the most marbling. Below that there is moderately abundant, slightly abundant, moderate, and so forth until you get to devoid, which means
No marbling at all, right?
right.
So marbling is one factor in quality grading. What's the other?
Age. Up to 3 months old, an animal is classified as veal. A calf is 3 to 9 months old, and beef is 9 months and older.
Well, after an animal reaches the beef stage, does maturity change the quality?
Definitely. After animals become beef, they're divided into 5 age groups, A through E, from youngest to oldest. Youngest is best.
You mean the age of beef really affects its taste then?
Certainly. As an animal grows older, lean meat becomes darker, more coarsely textured, and less tender.
Does the additional marbling compensate for the older age?
To a certain extent, there's prime, the highest quality, which means that the animal is young and marbled. As maturity increases, you have to have a greater amount of marbling to compensate for the age in order to get the same quality grade. Younger cattle qualify for prime, choice, select, or standard, the top grades, depending on their marbling. Older cattle qualify for lower quality grades, commercial, utility, canner cutter. Oh, by the way, here's something you should know. In 1987, the grade good was renamed select.
Well, what's that?
Well, as you can see, when beef is graded, they roll the grade stamp on it. Well, the meat companies usually only roll the grade on their carcasses if they're prime or choice, but nothing lower. So lower quality grades are all lumped together, known as no-roll beef. Therefore, no-roll could include select, standard, commercial, and the lower grades. By changing the name good to select, producers hope that the industry will use more good beef because it really is good, instead of just lumping it in with no-roll carcasses.
You know, you also mentioned yield grading.
The purpose of yield grading is to let a buyer know how much boneless, closely trimmed product he'll get from a particular carcass. Yield grade 1 gives you the highest yield. They are leaner with more muscle. Yield grade 5 gives you the lowest yield. They are usually very fat. But in order to determine the saleable yield from the subprimals you buy, you need to do cutting tests on those cuts.
You know, one of my customers asked me why the beautifully trimmed steaks I sell cost more than the steaks he got from another sales representative.
What'd you say?
When I saw the other guy's beef, I couldn't believe it. Now, I explained to my customer how much more lean beef and less trimming loss he got from my trim cuts than from the other stuff.
That's exactly what a cutting test is all about, and why cuts from yield grade 2 carcasses are actually worth more than from yield grade 3, for example. Have any of your customers ever ordered meat according to number specification?
A few times.
Well, let's talk about that. I think it's something you should understand. When a carcass is being cut up, it's first segmented into 4 basic primal cuts. These are round, loin, rib, and chuck. There are also 4 minor cuts: the flank, plate, brisket, and foreshank. Each of the major primal cuts is divided further into subprimal cuts. The primal round is subdivided into the top or inside round, the gooseneck round, and knuckle. The gooseneck is often divided further into the bottom or outside round and eye of round. The primal loin will give you strip loin, tenderloin, top butt or top sirloin, and the bottom sirloin butt, which can be broken down into the ball tip, triangle, and flat. The primal rib is prepared in several ways. It can be boneless, bone-in, tied, or netted for roasting, or with the fat and bone removed for ribeye roll. Primal chuck can be made into boneless shoulder prod and boneless chuck roll.
So the 4 main divisions of the carcass are called primals.
Right.
And these primals get divided into subprimals.
Right. Now, in order to standardize specifications for each cut, the NAM, the National Association of Meat Purveyors, has developed a numbering system, such as a NAM 112 ribeye, based on exact specifications developed by the association. Also, the federal government has a specification system called the IMS, the Institutional Meat Purchase Specifications. It will certify the meat cut will be the same every time it's ordered. Now, these specifications are pictured and described in the Meat Buyer's Guide, published by the National Association of Meat Purveyors.
Well, that's why my customers will sometimes order with those numbers.
Right. The 100 series means they're ordering beef. If an order is for tenderloin, for example, you get an order for number 189.
Oh, what if it's 180?
Okay. That's strip loin. They may specify yield and or quality grade, state of refrigeration, aging, external fat, thickness, trim level, weight ranges of subprimals, or portion size of portion cut items. It's a system that lets your customers buy the exact products for their specific needs. They can even specify aging at a specific temperature, number of days, and or humidity level.
Well, does the aging improve the flavor of beef?
It does, but aging improves the tenderness too. You can continue to age beef for as long as 30 days, but you get the optimum tenderizing in 10 to 14 days. The flavor will continue to develop for as long as it's aged.
Well, how long can you safely age beef?
Originally, entire beef carcasses were dry aged at 34 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 6 weeks. They kept the carcasses in low humidity coolers to slow down bacterial growth. This is called dry aging. The only problem was that the low humidity would dry out the surface of the meat, resulting in substantial shrinkage and trimming losses. Now that packing companies are shipping beef that's already been cut into subprimals, the aging occurs in the vacuum bag. This is called wet aging.
produced best tasting beef?
Both results are exactly the same.
Now, when you're shipping pre-cut beef, accurate labeling must be important.
And not only important, it's the law. The label must show the name of the product, the net weight, the producing company and its address, as well as the inspection insignia and the list of ingredients.
You know, I would think that the most important issue with beef would be how it's handled and stored.
You're right. Beef is one of the most perishable foods in the food service industry, and because of its value, spoilage is very expensive. There are two rules for handling beef. Keep it clean and keep it cold. From 28 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit is best. Meat is basically sterile until it comes in contact with knives and saws and equipment. That's why anything that comes into contact with fresh meat must be kept scrupulously clean.
When a shipment of beef arrives, I guess it's probably a good idea for the customer to make sure that it's in good condition and it's what you ordered.
A very good idea. Fresh beef with oxygen permeable packaging should always be bright red and not have any off odor. If it's a large shipment, it pays to spot check it. It should all be between 28 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if it's vacuum packaged, it'll be dark red, even slightly purplish. But be sure to check the package to make sure that it hasn't lost its vacuum. Vacuum-packed beef will have a funny odor when it's first opened, but this is due to a lack of oxygen. Just let the beef breathe for about 30 minutes before cooking. Anytime you find a peculiar odor or discoloration, you should inspect the beef closely. Say, how about if we go visit one of your clients and see their storage conditions? All right. After your client receives a shipment of beef, they should check for any crushed or wet boxes and inspect for product damage. Then, it should be promptly stored, ideally in a meat cooler, between 28 and 32 degrees Fahrenheit, like your client has here.
Now, meat freezes at 28 degrees Fahrenheit, right?
Right. And at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, bacterial growth increases rapidly. So much, in fact, that meat should never be left above 40 degrees Fahrenheit for more than a couple of hours. Freezing preserves beef because it inactivates beef enzymes and slows bacterial growth. But freezing also causes ice crystals to form. That's why it's better to freeze beef quickly at a lower temperature so that small ice crystals form.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about beef cooking?
Well, obviously, that's where we come in.
I will not show you the part on beef cooking. Basically, it's just on grilling and braising. I want to make sure I have more time for you to do other question and answer. Okay, back to the presentation. Okay, just now in the video, you know that he explained very clearly the type of fat, how to store and how to handle. But some part of it, you may still have questions that I would like to also highlight and emphasize. Okay, first I want to talk on food safety and inspection. Now, animal rights, animal welfare is a very important issue all over the world. If you have this information recently, when Australia live cattle going into Indonesia wasn't being treated the right way, and it was really a big hoo-ha thing in Australia. Okay, so in US, humane treatment for the animal is also top of our priority. Okay, just like if you can remember in the first video. In the first video, there is this cowboy working on a computer, looking on the animal walking down. Basically, this cowboy, he is an animal doctor. He's a veterinarian. He is also the USDA officer. What he do is he make sure that the animal walk down or walk down from the truck to the slaughterhouse. The animal can walk by himself. Okay, if the animal cannot walk by himself, lie down, refuse to walk, they will not force the animal to go into the slaughterhouse. They must make sure that they check the animal, see what's wrong with the animal. Is the animal sick, not feeling well? Then they will put them separately. Okay, and then at the same time, then you say why animal don't want to walk down or whatsoever. This is because from the farm to the slaughterhouse, journey is very far away. Sometimes can be 2 hours, on the truck, boom, it's very stressful for the animal. And sometimes when they know that it's close to the slaughterhouse, they just refuse to move. So it's very important the way that when they design the walkway, and not make the animal that back up. There's a walkway that they always go down so that the animal is can follow down smoothly. Okay. So when the officer makes sure that the animal can walk down and then go into the slaughterhouse and then rest, drink a lot of water to relax themselves a little bit. Then after that, they will send in for stunning. And then turn the body upside down, you stick, drain off the blood, and then you open up the skeleton bone, remove all the intestine. When they remove the intestine, the body is on top, the intestine is below, and then there's another officer to check. Make sure, the lung, the liver, everything, the color is okay. Sometimes outside look good, but inside color on the lung and liver is not good. Why start to have disease or whatsoever? So when the intestine and the body, after check, then they will go separate way because they have to pasteurize the carcass and they have to clean up the intestine. So after the inspector check already, then we will have one more inspector down here to check the lymph nodes, to check the bone color, to make sure every body formation is okay. So all these different sections, different stages are all controlled by the USDA officer. Okay, then after when the officer check already, they will do a stamp and say inspected and passed. Okay. There are different departments that help USDA to control. One of the departments down here is FDA, Food and Drug Administration. When the animal is sick in the farm, the animal have to give medicine to recover, put in the sick pen. Okay? And when the animal is on medicine, we make sure that all the medicine are passed out from the body. Give them a withdrawal period so that it's safe for human to consume the thing. Just like you, when you're sick, you go and see doctor give you antibiotic. And when you take antibiotic, you have to complete the course. When you go to the toilet, you notice that the urine very strong smell. Why? Because of the medicine. Same thing for the animal. If it's on medication, we make sure all the medicine must pass out. And this department also control the type of medicine to give, cannot overdose and things like that. Okay, very strict control by the FDA. We also have another department called Food Safety Inspection Services. These are the people that make sure the beef are wholesome, check the plant, and make sure the plant is clean and sanitized. All the plants in America are HACCP certified. HACCP is a system for safety. You have ISO 12,000, ISO 9,000. Thailand have different type of food safety system. US, we always practice HACCP. All the plant, either you slaughter, you just do cutting, or you make into ham and sausage plant, every plant are all HACCP certified. And your Thailand government recognize this system, so that's why our product can come in. Okay, what is this? This is a stamp of wholesomeness, inspection stamp. This is the plant number, number 38. Every plant has a number. We say US inspected and passed. So what is this for? So this is basically can do for tracing, trace back where the product come from. Okay, it also help to control if there's a disease outbreak. Like recently you notice that in Europe they have this E. coli outbreak, right? So when they need to recall product, they must know what is the plant number in order to track that. How is this plant number going to help you for Siamfood service? The beef you buy out from Harris Ranch or out from AB Foods, these are the product has its own number. Some of the brand they have more than one plant. When they have more than one plant, they can have one plant in one plant in California, one plant in Texas, the other plant in New York. When you have different plants, sometimes the cutting specification may be slightly different. Sometimes the quality of the animal may be slightly different. So very important, when you buy the product, your customer say, oh, this brand very good. Everything, cutting specification, quality, color, very good. Then you make sure you look at the plant number on the back and on the box so that you can tell your supplier in US, please maintain this plant number. Why? Because sometimes they run out product from this plant, they will get from another plant and put into your shipment. So your customer may say, oh, this time the packaging maybe not so nice, or the color of the product not so good. So very important to remember the plant number that you always go for. Okay? Beef grading. Just now in the video you heard about beef grading. What is beef grading? When you sell US beef, when you buy US beef, this is the top 3 grading that you always have to remember. Prime, choice, and select. This is the top 3. But actually there are more than 3. There are 8 grading. Okay, you have 8 grading, but just remember this top 3. 1, prime, choice, and select. Why prime is good? Wow, look at this animal. Young, macho, ready to go. Very good muscle formation. Tough, like rainbow. And then we also have old animal. Old animal are great of utility, commercial, cannon cutter. Now the U.S. beef come into Thailand are very young animal, on the average age 30 months and below, and only boneless item. Then you say, why last time U.S. beef can come bone in and now cannot? This is because way back in 2003, end of 2003, there's a disease outbreak, a case of BSE in U.S. So that time your Thailand government shut down the door, so no beef. So at least for 2.5 years, we have no U.S. beef come back. So when they lift up the ban to have more product coming that time, they make some agreement. They say that they only allow boneless beef. So that agreement has been continued until now. Okay? So we don't want to talk about what is the bad experience in the past, but currently it's only boneless beef and young animal product coming into Thailand. The U.S.Meat Export Federation and the U.S. Embassy in Thailand are working with the Thai authority to hope to lift up the ban to have more bone-in beef to come in, so that make it easy for you to sell short rib, make it easy for you to sell prime rib. Okay? So basically just remember U.S. beef, prime, choice, and select grading. So what are the factors that to do the grading? Number 1, maturity. How old is the animal? How young is the animal? Okay? Number 2, marbling. What is the marbling score on the animal? Where they get this from? If you remember just now in the video, after they slaughter, they split the 12 and the 13 rib, and then that will be the end of the rib eye, the opening, the beginning of the straight line. Down here, the officer basically look at the marbling and they just count the marbling. With the counting of the marbling, they were able to determine what is the grading from there. Okay? In this picture, in this fact sheet on beef, you can see that the officers are basically doing the reading. Okay, you may say, why don't let computer do it faster? Yes, there is a computer system, but we still need the officer to verify. Computer, sometimes you can't trust them also. So officer would definitely to verify to make sure the grading is correct. Okay, so we have the marbling score. We need to look at the firmness, the color, and the texture of the meat in order to determine the grading. Okay? Question? No. Easy, yeah? So, U.S. beef, prime, choice, select. What is the difference? The marbling. Prime, you can see more marbling compared to choice. Select has very little marbling. So, how we do that? So, A is young, E is old. AB will be 30 months and below. Okay? So, degree of marbling will be under this one. Slightly abundant, this is slightly abundant, which is the minimum grade for prime. So, in order to qualify for prime grade beef, you must be of young animal and slightly abundant marbling. Okay? If you are old and have a lot of marbling, like me, old and have fat, so cannot be prime anymore. Go to where? Go to commercial grade. What you do with commercial grade? Ground beef, McDonald's. Commercial grade sometimes go for canned food and things like that. Okay? Because now U.S. beef come to Thailand, only young animals, so you just concentrate on these 3 areas will do. When next time, when we open up the beef market, you can import older animal, then these are the good material for who? For the caterer. You know, when we sell for the caterer, when we do mass catering event, this will be the one that is very cheap in price and quality still very good, especially on the rib eye and the straight loin, still on the top quality. Alright, so next we come back to here. Prime must be young and good marbling. Choice, you see many down here you have 3 grading. Moderate, moderate, and small. So these 3 are under the choice category. And select is not many. So down here, 1 year, we have close to how many percent? No more than 3% of the prime grade. Very little. 1 year we slaughter about 40 million animal, only 3%. You can see so little and expensive. And down here, choice we have quite a lot. On an average, sometimes we can reach out to 65, sometimes even to 75% of the category, of the total production. And when we have product down here, not qualified for prime, but on the high level of choice. So we have a product that we call top choice, high choice, or choice or higher beef. And we also have one category that we just call them choice. Why? Because when we have product down here, some of the plant that they want to separate them, and so that they can sell a higher money. Just like your double R range. If I remember it right, your double R range is on the top choice quality. Okay? You have the regular commodity, just what we call choice beef. Nobody will sell low choice. No. Only choice, top choice, high choice. Yes. So, when you want to teach your customer, sometimes your customer will say, hey, Priyada, your beef is much more expensive than ABC company. Then you have to make sure that the chef compare is top choice and top choice, right? If not, the other ABC company is just choice. Yours is top choice. Then it's unfair for you. Okay? Make sure you have to teach your customer how to see. So prime very little, more on the choice. Any question down here?
So we have top choice and high choice is the same.
Similar.
So the top choice is which one?
Under moderate and above here. It's just kind of qualified for prime, just on this top area. Okay? And sometimes they say this top choice area, usually they will put under the CAB beef. Later I will talk on CAB. Okay? We go on the regular item first. Okay, so it's very easy. So your beef selling is good marbling and young animal. Okay, very important to remember. So you ask me, anybody have tried US beef before? Only one. Wow. When you never try the product, you can't sell. So today we're going to cook some. Okay, why prime is good? If you can eat beef. Because prime we have more marbling. When we have more marbling, taste will be tender, juicy and flavorful. That's why they do a taste test. When they do a taste test, prime they can score at least 6.6. Choice is only 5.9. Select is lesser, only 5.1. So that tells you prime beef is good. Why? Better it tastes. Okay? That is the reason. Okay, then sometimes you notice the beef color is very dark. Why? In US, when our animals are young, it shouldn't be dark in color. When you have dark color beef, usually these are of grass-fed animal, local animal, and very old animal. When the animal get older, the color tends to be much more darker. But in America, when in the slaughter plant, in the slaughterhouse, when we see an animal that is on a dark color, we put them one side. What is the reason? This is because the animal is under stress when you slaughter them. Wow, animal also have stress. I thought only human being got stress, but animal have stress. How come? Because from the farm to the slaughterhouse, in the truck, sometimes 2-hour drive, winter, very cold, summer, very hot. So, you know, it's really very tedious for the animal, very stressful. And sometimes when they reach the slaughterhouse, they hear the friend making noise already. Why? Because it's time to say bye-bye. So, very stressful. So what they need to do? Drink a lot of water. Relax the body. If they never drink a lot of water, relax the body, and when you slaughter them, stress level is very high, you will have a dark cutting beef. At least I would say up to 80% you will have a dark cutting beef.
Sorry, sorry. I need the translate for my.
Or maybe Kung Tu also can do translation. Kung Tu is
เห็นนะคะสองอันนี้มันจะแตกต่างกันนะคะ ก็คือที่สีตรงฝั่งเนี้ยที่สีสดกว่าเนี่ยเขาบอกว่าที่สีเข้มเนี่ยเนื่องจากว่าวัวมันเครียดเนื่องจากระยะเวลาการเดินทางระหว่างฟาร์มจนถึงที่เชือดเนี่ยมันต้องใช้เวลานานเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเกิดวัวเครียดเนี่ยมันจะทำให้สีของเนื้อเข้มขึ้นด้วยจะมีผลต่อสีเนื้อเขาก็จะเซปเปอร์เรตเขาแยกตัวนี้ออกไปหลักการในการทำให้วัวหายเครียดคืออะไรเขาก็จะเอาวัวลงมาจากรถปุ๊บทิ้งไว้สักพักหนึ่งก่อนที่จะเข้าเชือดให้มันกินน้ำให้มันหายเครียดให้มันคุ้นกับที่ที่มันอยู่ก่อนถึงจะเอาเข้าเชือดเราจะพยายามรีแลกซ์วัวให้มากที่สุดเพื่อจะได้คุณภาพที่ดี
What causes the dark cutting beef in US is because the high pH level, lactic acid. Okay. So when we have animal like this, usually we will put them one side. Okay. When we put them one side, what we do? We go through a processing period. When you keep beef like this in the refrigerator, it cannot last long. It turns sour fast. When you eat this beef, you don't worry, you won't die. Okay, you won't die, don't worry. You won't go toilet, it's okay. It's just that the flavor, because it's high in pH, lactic acid is very high. It's just that it cannot last long. So when it cannot last long, you have to go through a process of cooking. So they either send for the processing side to make into sausage, cook the sausage, and do other things. They will not